But here we are again in the social media age, wanting attention for the 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this shit is ending up in my algorithm.
I don't know how.
So you know what? I'm consuming the hell out of it.
All of it, yeah.
As the world turns.
This week on the podcast, we'll take a look at Erin Andrews' recent comments about working in sports and how social media's response to them serves as a perfect example of how aggregated our society has become. To put it mildly, we weren't happy with the responses we saw, and we think Erin has earned every right in the world to say what's on her mind about what really happens when you choose this type of career. Yeah, it's like people think people are exempt from having these type of questions about their life because they make a lot of money, and that just needs to go away. We'll also talk about the brutality and harmful attributes of social media. We've mentioned this a million times, and the research is starting to come in. It's there now. But social media sucks. It's just bad.
I need a shirt that says that.
It really, it just brings out the worst in our humanity. And move on to why Erin and many others, including ourselves, jump into this rat race in the first place.
There's not a ton of professions that are relationship based. You know, I can think of people I knew in other professions where you'd walk into their office and you could hear a pin drop. Nobody would be speaking to each other, and it's just completely different in sports. And that was perfect. That was everything I wanted.
And finally, do you think we'd really not talk about Lane Kiffin's pontoon boat ride to Baton Rouge? What would the fall be without a little college football coaching drama? What happens when the Saints come calling in 2 years? Let's say he goes 11-2 and plays for national championships, and the Saints like, hey, I want to hire that dude in 2 years. You not think the same thing's going to happen to them? He's going to play them like a fiddle. This is the true story of two washed-up sports guys who chased the dream, private flights, championship rings, running sideline to sideline on per diem and adrenaline.
We gave our 20s and our 30s to the industry, pulled off miracles that were never in the job description. In return, low pay, long hours, and we still got cut from the team.
This is about what really happens behind the badge. The burnout, the bad bosses, the dream job that didn't love you back, but also the lifelong friendships, the chaos, the holy shit stories you couldn't make up. And somehow, despite everything, you'd still do parts of it all over again.
This is one for the ones who lived it, loved it, hated it, and still kind of miss it. For everyone who's ever asked, how in the hell did we survive that? We're two former sports insiders with more than 40 years of experience and more than enough scars to make fun of it all.
And just enough trauma to start a podcast instead of going to therapy.
I'm Brandon Barca.
And I'm Andy Boggs.
And this is No Longer Credentialed. We once had access, now we have opinions.
Barca, we ran across a story online that piqued our interest and felt like it'd be a good topic to talk about this week, although we have mentioned it before in previous podcasts. Fox Sports broadcaster Erin Andrews went on her podcast, Calm Down with Erin and Carissa, that is Carissa Thompson of Amazon and other outlets, and discussed the sacrifices she makes for her job and why you have to love what you do to work in sports because it requires missing out on a lot of holidays and other events like weddings. That she didn't get married until she was 40. All the things that are hard and emotionally difficult to deal with when you work in the industry, and for Erin and Carissa, what it takes to be at the top of your craft, which they are. We can't speak to the difficult day-to-day of being in the spotlight, dealing with trolls online on the reg, and having to be on all the time, but it's not an easy gig. But you wouldn't know that from some of the online trolls who took her to task for her comments. The one that stood out was from ESPN sideline reporter Jenna Lane. Here's what she said, Barca. Saw Erin Andrews' remarks about the challenges in this business. Starting out making $40,000 a year and not having holidays. I appreciate what she's trying to say, but let's consider the folks working 2 to 3 jobs in retail, in warehouses, and in the service industry right now, just trying to make ends meet. They're not getting time with their families either. This would be a dream for them. Some people have lost jobs and are living out of their cars as we speak, or they don't know how they're going to keep the lights on or put food on the table. Their kids won't get anything for Christmas. I mean, we actually get fed on the job. I appreciate her hustle and that of my peers, but let's have some perspective. Barca, we had a long talk about this offline, but the responses to her benign comments made to a fellow industry person really baffled me. So here's some ideas that I have. If anyone has the right to give advice to people who want to do what she's doing, it is her. This woman has had her privacy invaded by a dude putting a camera in her hotel peephole and leaked it everywhere on the internet. Think about that for a second. She's battled uterine cancer and beat it. She started right out of college in the business and blazed her own path, starting at the regional level and then to ESPN and now to covering some of the biggest events in the world with Fox Sports. I don't want to make too many assumptions, but I would imagine that path was not an easy one. This will be out of the news cycle when this pod comes out, but we felt that it's important to bring it back into the open, especially for people, men and women, in the industry. We've spoken about this before, and Erin, if you're listening, call us and maybe we can work together to get in front of college classes to educate them about these type of things. But more people in the business should be speaking out on this topic. Not to keep people away from it, but to add a perspective that all of the hard work of chasing your dream and doing cool things like Erin is doing comes with a price sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. She says she has the best job in the world, and to many she does. But if you want to be good at it, you have to love it, and you have to be willing to live with some things that may hurt you down the line when it comes to your mental health. These are facts, and if you're a young GA in the marketing office in a college athletic department or a sideline reporter burning it at both ends, working any game you can get, Erin's message is a simple but powerful one, and she should not be ridiculed or trolled for it. Believing the trolls is a way to start a bad spiral. Luckily, Erin hasn't taken the bait and has responded beautifully on social media.
All good points, Boggsy. Let's play the clip for some context. You've probably already heard it if you're listening out there, people, unless you've been living on the sun during Thanksgiving break.
This is what one of my first professors said. If you don't want to make $40,000 in your first job, get out. If you don't want to be told you need a nose job, get out. If you don't want to be divorced, get out. If you don't want to work holidays, get out. And I don't say it like that, but I say you got to love what you do, because I miss all holidays. I didn't get married till I was in my 40s. Not that that is going to be your route, but I live out of a suitcase. I miss a lot of stuff. I missed a lot of weddings. I miss a lot of events. You have to love it to get you through the fact I'm not going to be home for Thanksgiving next week, or Christmas is cut short.
Look, Boggsy, I know this story was beaten to death on social media during turkey break, but all of the things she says about the lifestyle of the job, working in sports, resonates with people that listen to this show and the experiences that we've had and we've openly talked about. But let's be real. This is just all clickbait, starting with one simple headline on social media that didn't really give full context about her career sacrifices as a sideline reporter, when she was mostly emphasizing that you got to love what you do. She, in fact, said that she loves working in the industry. Then it's aggregated everywhere.
Aggregation
even outside
City.
Of sports.
Jeez, yeah.
Everywhere.
People Magazine. I saw it on People Magazine. Like, I don't know, on my Apple News feed. It's everywhere. And this poor woman taking it from all different directions.
Yeah, we all know, having worked in sports, how hard it is missing holidays and time with friends and working nights and weekends regularly. And, I think it's good for us to point out in context that her comments were part of a segment where fans wrote into the show and someone asked her about her career path to being a sideline reporter.
Yeah.
And she was explaining what it consists of and all of the commitment that it takes to be one.
It was really heartfelt what she said. You could tell it came from a really good place. And just getting trolled for saying things that are actually really real.
And then the social media cesspool took over.
Yes.
And started taking shots at her, and everybody had to weigh in on it. Some people, like the reporter you mentioned earlier, it's like probably should be putting the Twitter fingers down.
Yeah.
Erin Andrews, to her point, wasn't trying to garner any sympathy. She wasn't even complaining about her job.
Yeah.
She has the right to tell her story, and feel whatever way she wants to. Like you said, she has earned it in this industry, and we try to do the same on this show. We're going to tell you about all of the good times and all of the hard times, and we would never, from our ends, ever try to sway our listeners one way or the other when it comes down to should I work in sports.
Right.
We can share our experiences, and we think everyone should form their own opinion. But she has the right to speak on her 100%. Own podcast about her own experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it just blows my mind.
With another person who can identify with what she's talking about. It's, Barca, this is the thing that got me too, is the fact that is prioritizing your mental health only classified for people who work 3 jobs and make $40,000 a year? I mean, she's a human. She loves her job, but missed a lot of holidays and weddings and birthdays of people she loves. They understood because they love her, but it brings a lot of guilt on the person missing those things. We can attest to that. And these types of feelings and emotions happen to everyone, no matter if you're making a $1,500 a month stipend as a GA or an athlete making $30 million a year flying around in private jets. That stigma absolutely has to stop. No one is above or below having these types of feelings, and she has earned the right to talk to a friend about her true thoughts on being in the position she's in. We should be thankful that she has the courage to speak this way, although you and I both think she didn't really say anything too controversial. She's just telling the truth. And, I think we mentioned this before, when we were 22 or 21, I couldn't submit a question on a podcast. I didn't know. No one's telling me like, oh, this could cause this or this, you need to be careful about this, or you're not going to make any money for your whole career, or you may do some cool things, but, it could get hard sometimes. No one should be above having questions about mental health and addressing their mental health, issues or questions or whatever. That's the part that kind of got me going a little bit.
Yeah, no one should be cornering the market or even planting the flag on mental health.
No.
Like we all go through our own daily things. I still had problems in life, whether I was making $20K a year or whether I was making 6 figures. It didn't go away. Life beats you down. And, we talked about some of this on a previous episode. So for the ESPN reporter jumping into the convo on Twitter and saying that we should be considering the people working 2 to 3 jobs in the service industry right now that also have to work on the holidays, since she has a dream job in media. She said she appreciates Erin and her hustle and that of her media peers, but let's have some perspective.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That's where I say, like, welcome to the holier than thou bubble. And I'm not saying that those comments aren't factual in a way, because they are, but it's apples to oranges. It's two different trains of thought. So my thing for her would be, this ESPN reporter, might I offer you a warm glass of shut the hell up?
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore people.
Yeah.
Sure, everyone is in their own headspace in regards to their personal journey and their own timeline for it.
Yeah.
And how they prioritize their compassion for other human beings in life. But there's no reason to compare that to the advice that Erin shared about the dedication to working in the industry.
Yep.
Both can be true. Just get off your high horse, put the Twitter down, and stop using this moment to preach to us and tell us how thankful you are.
Yeah.
We discussed this on a recent episode of the pod about suffering and chasing purpose. We are all fighting something. We can be passionate about helping those in need and realizing what we are blessed with. That's extremely important. But that doesn't mean we can't express our own hardships about things that go on in our own lives. The two aren't the same. And again, she wasn't even complaining.
Why is it either or? Why can't it be both? Yeah, we should be concerned about the person working and not being home with their, family because they're, an electrician and the power went off somewhere and they got to go do an emergency fix or, climb power lines or whatever. Yeah, we should be talking about that. But there's not an either or thing. Erin should have the complete right to talk about her struggles being in the business. And it's great for all of us to hear that. We all need to hear it from everybody. We don't hear it enough. And I mean, if you just look back at her story, it's just an incredible story, what she's overcome. We can talk about what these sideline reporters, they're in and out of places. I mean, yeah, it looks like a glamorous job, but you're on a plane for a lot of times and you're living out of a hotel room. Or, I mean, heck, for her, I don't even think she may not even stay in hotels anymore. She might not even trust what's happening. Think about that. Think about when you're doing your accommodations, you're like, I just don't know if I can stay in a hotel because I'm afraid someone's going to bug it. I mean, it's just, there's a lot she's overcome, and she has the right to say what she's saying. And I'm happy she said it. And all these people on social media, they can suck it as far as I'm concerned. I'm serious.
Hey,
it's bad.
You've worked with a lot of reporters, a lot of media. You can definitely share with us, what that lifestyle is like.
It's incredible.
And
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just, like I saw Katie George the other night. She was at a college football game on Saturday, and she's on their NBA coverage now too. So she's one of their Wednesday night games. She's there. So you got to think she flies into a college football game on Friday, works the game Saturday. She may come home Saturday night if the game's early. And then Tuesday, she's out again. And the games are at night Wednesday night, so she's not getting a flight out till Thursday. It's not an easy job. I mean, it's a fun job, but it's not easy. And she should be able to say that. It drives me crazy.
I think just the difficulty alone of being in the spotlight and being on at all times,
all the time.
Not just on camera, but in the public, is extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Even with money and fame, she's at the, top of the ladder in what she's accomplished in her profession. But hell, man, I mean, just doing this podcast every week is stressful as hell to me as far as the anxiety just to be on camera and talk to people about these things. And I can't imagine being critiqued every single week by Tom, Dick, and Harry and them talking about if I suck or not at my job and or creeps making comments about their looks and all of the things that they're dealing with. And so, we can't forget those things, but it shouldn't be as simple as, just you have to take all of this and it doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah, it's like people think people are exempt from having these type of questions about their life because they make a lot of money. And that just needs to go away. And it doesn't matter if you're making a lot or a little, or you're flying on a private jet or you're flying coach. Everyone has their own demons, like you said before, and we should be allowed to talk about them. It makes everybody better when you do, I think. It makes her feel better, and it makes everybody else better who wants to work in the business. Like, oh man, I'd never thought about that part. I've always been home for Thanksgiving with my parents or my loved ones, and then so you're trying to tell me like I'm not going to be home? Like, yeah, I'm going to tell you. I mean, she was in Detroit working the Lions and Packers game, and it's just a tough gig, man. It really is, and good for her for saying some things that people need to hear. But that gets to my last point, man. And this point is big, and we've mentioned this a million times, and the research is starting to come in. It's there now. But social media sucks. It's just bad.
I need a shirt that says that.
It really, it just brings out the worst in our humanity. Erin's a pro and has dealt with these types of things for a very long time. And she probably has somebody helping her with this, which she should. But we'd all be better off if we'd concentrate on the things and people that are immediately around us and the people who actually care about us, not some catty reporter or a social media bot in Russia trying to stir us all up. It's a practice that we should all take part in. Just get off of social media for a little bit. Raw dog a walk outside by yourself or go with somebody else. Look around and interact with people in your community. Make a good meal if you can. Grow a garden. Learn to play an instrument. Share your light with real people. And just do something besides looking at a screen and comparing yourself with other people that you don't even know. It's the worst. Dude, it's the worst. And this just epitomizes why it's so bad. This poor woman is just talking from her heart about truth, and she just getting bombarded with social media comments and aggregated stories. It's brutal.
Props to her for responding to some of the chatter online.
Yeah.
And
she's been really good.
standing up for herself.
Yeah.
But in regards to the social media cesspool, in the grand scheme of things, what's the purpose of it all? And like you're saying, as studies are coming out more and more, it's poison to the brain. It's essentially a drug in a way. And
it is.
Honestly, if I could kick the habit,
right,
I would. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I rarely even post to social media these days. And honestly, when I do, I just hate myself, or just a couple days later, I'm like, yeah, I don't even want this up. it's just a miserable feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to put the point out there that I'm not on social media. I am. Like, I'm on Instagram, some just like finding some things that I think are cool, but I gave up the Twitter cesspool, man. I mean, I looked this past week just on there. It's like, man, I'm so glad I'm not on here all the time. And I don't have a Facebook account. I never signed up for one, and never really felt like I needed it. And I don't. And I'm not saying I'm like the world's greatest person when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I do stay on there too long, probably some. But we just got to get off of there, man. There's just so much research coming down the pipe now about how bad it is, especially for like 12 and 13-year-olds. I mean, it's really, really bad. And, you know, props to Erin, like you said, and it's a tough situation for her. You know, she gets paid a lot of money, so that's probably part of the deal. It's like, you're in the spotlight all the time. But, man, what a tough gig. Social media sucks. Just turn it down for a little bit.
I'm going to ask you this question, knowing that it could spark all the trolls.
Oh, yeah. We have so many.
And you may you may just hate your life for a couple days.
We have so many trolls.
Trying to respond to the trolls. But
yeah, I'll have you respond to the trolls.
Since we're on the topic about working in sports, what kind of advice would you give to people all the youngins out there looking to get into it?
I'd say go for it. If you want to go for it, just have fun. And if that's in your heart to go do it, follow it. But just be aware that there could be some things 10 years down the line where you're kind of stuck in the same spot and there's really no place for you to go. And that would be my words of advice, just to be careful about what's happening. Not careful, but just be alert of some of the pitfalls that could happen out there. But that shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do. I mean, I would never trade my experiences for anything. Would you? No,
well, that's a deep question.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about getting back into DeLorean and seeing how our lives are changed, and if we're going to get erased from the picture like Marty McFly and his family.
Right. Yeah.
And Doc is going to be screaming at us about the flux capacitor.
Oh, dude, I need to watch that movie again. It's so good.
Perfect movie.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as the experiences and the relationships, man, I value that so much. It's why we have this podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, the decision making, I'd probably make a lot of different decisions as we went along, and in ways that impacted my family or my life, or times I didn't stick up for myself to try to improve the culture of the working conditions. But I am, as I went along in the industry, I'm glad to see these younger gens, got to give them props for sticking up for more of the things that need to change.
Yep.
In regards to the lifestyle and the work culture and the burnout and the mental health. I mean, there are a lot of things I do different, but I think you get to this age too, to where, man, I sound like old man on the hill, where I wish I would have enjoyed the moments more, lived in the moment. And it's so difficult working in sports, living in the moment, because your to-do list, you have 100 things that you always need to get done. And so when one thing's done, we talked about this on a previous episode too, and maybe it's like the Scheffler thing, where there wasn't as much enjoyment because we're thinking, all right, on to the next. And I wish I could have separated myself, but it's tough when you go through the process. It's hard to have that mindset of what it feels like 20 years later. It's like
Yeah.
impossible, right? Like you
Yeah.
live it and you experience it and you mature through it,
Yeah.
through the good and the bad.
It's like I kept thinking back to Andy Mack's interview with us where he went to New York City because it's getting to be Heisman Trophy time. And there's going to be a couple of places that are going to be sending people to New York who've never sent people there. I know one school hasn't, and I don't know about another one. And then all the stories he has, and like I don't know if he really appreciated it in the moment, but now he does. I mean, and my plea is to those people, if you're listening to this podcast, which you're probably not, but if you are, just absorb every last second of that, man, because it's going to be so cool for you in the next 2 weeks. You're going to be running. It's going to be burning on both ends. You know, you may be in New York, and then the next week you're in Orlando for all these awards, and then you got to get ready for a bowl game and all that, or the playoff or whatever. But it's also one of those things like, man, just take a look around and see who's around you, and just like these are your people probably for the most part. These are going to be stories that, you know, when you're in a retirement home when you're 70, you're going to be telling those stories, and just keep that in mind moving forward, because it's going to be hard, but it's also going to be really, really, really cool. And I'd always kind of get that feeling, and I think we've talked about it before, just getting ready for like March Madness. I always have this, I don't know if it's a yearning feeling, but it's just like a feeling that, man, that was really fun. It sucked at the moment. There were some times that were really sucky, but that was really, really fun. And just absorb it, man. We'll have Andy Mack call you. He'll probably have some good advice.
Leave a comment on IG, Andy Mack.
Andy Mack.
Yeah, some of my best times. March
Right.
Madness, and then postseason in Omaha with baseball, which we had
Yeah.
several great trips. And preface this to your point, you know, you mentioned Heisman campaigns. Like, you just never know if you're ever going to experience something
Never.
like that again. And
Ever.
it's pretty rare
Never.
that you're at a place where it happens regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I love the madness
Mm.
of March Madness. You know, I was working around the clock, but being on the team bus, being in the meals, traveling along to the practice sessions
Mm-hmm.
the couple of days before, going to the game, post-game reaction, if we win the day in between, and celebrating after the round of 32 win to go to the Sweet 16, and fans embracing us, waiting for our bus outside at 2 or 3 a.m. on St. Patrick's Day, and they're all coming from the bars dressed in green, and there's 200 people out there, and the team, everybody on the team just like wide-eyed thinking like, this is incredible, as people are pounding on the bus waiting for them to come off. And, you know, I had a chance to capture a lot of these things, whether it was writing blogs or doing all access videos or social media. And those are the moments I live for, just experiencing those moments with the team. And I always said, using my eyes to let other people live vicariously through the experiences that I had, because I'm sure there were thousands of fans that have been like, man, we wish we could be in this scenario or situation. And so that's the mindset I always took. If I could have just done that 24/7 with teams, that was my favorite thing to do.
But it's like, it's cold now. It's December, and you don't really fast forward to June when the weather's great. You're going to the pool. You kind of got to have the parts that were kind of slow and long, and to really appreciate you going 100 miles a minute, in March or in Omaha, or, for the college football playoff or bowl games or whatever. And, I just think you can appreciate, you just savor it that much more when you've had, some slow times or some really, really bad times. You're 2-10, or you're 10-25 in basketball, and the next year you're in the tournament. You're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And it's just like, it's this swing. It's almost like the swing of life. I don't mean to be too crazy here, but you have the lows and the highs, and you appreciate the highs because you've seen the lows. If you were just high all the time, maybe, I don't know about being high all the time, but
Can't be high all the time,
You
Boggs.
could be
Sorry,
high
buddy.
all the time, but
Gotta have to turn off the Bob Marley at some point.
But it's like, you just understand things a little bit more and you appreciate them more when you've kind of been through the slop a little bit.
Yeah, the downtimes, that's where really going, if we're going back episodes when you brought out the idea of senior leadership forcing staff to have like sabbaticals.
Yeah.
Because I think back when I was working all those hours in sports, and yes, it's a drug, and there's so many highs of just the experiences that you get day in and day out. But I was never in a position where I felt like I could be like, you know what? I'm going on a sabbatical or I'm resting my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was just too much stuff going on, or we were understaffed, or there were a lot of expectations, or the requests never stopped. And man, I wish I had somebody that could have said, "Hey, look, you're not coming in for 2 weeks."
Yeah.
Because I couldn't stop myself. I was my own worst
it's
enemy.
like you're chasing.
Maybe that's my own problem.
Well, it's like you said, it's like a drug. Like there's always something else that you have to be doing. And, for someone like Erin Andrews to come out and say, hey, listen, it's okay to relax a little bit. It's okay to have the feelings that you have if you're missing certain family things. It's okay to have those feelings. That's part of the business. That's the trade-off. And, you just have to get the lows to really appreciate the highs. This time of year for some people is crazy. Like we said in our crossover episode, this is the time.
Yeah, I was somebody who I thrived off the hectic schedule and craziness, and
it's fun.
Always having something to do, always running around with my head cut off.
Yeah.
It led to a lot of moments where I wasn't my best self.
Yeah.
That I regret. But man, there's nothing better than having, for me, everybody's different, a busy schedule than sitting there watching the paint dry on the wall, waiting for my next snack break.
Yeah, man. It reminds me of like when we would host big events and we'd never hosted them before. Like, how are we going to transform our situation into something that we can accommodate more people, more TV, more this, more that, and just like problem solving, sitting down with 4 or 5 different people in a room, like, hey, how can we do this? This is what we need from a media perspective. This is what we need from a marketing perspective. This is how we need to treat our photographers and videographers. They need whatever. And just coming up with those solutions, man, that was like some of the best times of my career. I thought that was so much fun. And just problem solving for a really fun thing that was coming up that not a lot of people get to do.
What's one big change that you would do in your career? Or like you said earlier, you wouldn't have done?
You mean like looking back?
Yeah, just what's one thing that stands out? You're like, man, I wish I would have maybe taken this job instead of that job, or done this differently. Is there anything that sticks out to you? I know that's a pretty loaded question.
Man, I don't, off the top of my head, I probably would try to transition out of communications and SID work and maybe try to do other things. That's probably my biggest regret. Like, I don't regret not moving my family for just a little bit more money to work harder, and I don't regret that at all, but maybe going down a different pathway. But I didn't know better, Like, I started off low D1. It was me and one other person in the communications office. And we had no marketing office. We had no compliance office. We didn't have anything. And all I knew was how to work games. And we didn't have a Learfield or an IMG or any of that stuff. We didn't have a facilities person. It was just, we just didn't have that. And I just didn't really know any better. And I just, you keep going and going and going because it's what you know. But when you probably should have said, well, maybe I could go down this other path and do something different, maybe make a little bit more money and have a little bit more stability. That would be my only thing, I think, off the top of my head.
It's crazy to think what a staff directory would have been like in the 90s.
Unbelievable.
for athletics compared to the amount of jobs and opportunities that are available now.
Unbelievable.
And just how much the industry has grown and changed. Even from the perspective in the late 90s, when I found out there was a sport management program at University of Tennessee, I was blown away. I was like, what? This is an actual like major?
Yeah.
But now, as far as just all of the opportunities out there from educational purposes, from internships, practicums, whatever, GAs,
Yeah.
to now all of the opportunities out there. And because it was, I don't know, it'd be tough to compare just thinking about this. I felt like it was extremely difficult to get a job in the sport
So hard.
back
dude.
at like 25 years ago.
It was so competitive. So competitive. And man, it was really, really hard. I mean, people left to go everywhere. To go to, if you lived on the East Coast, to go West Coast, or West Coast to come East Coast. Or, I mean, that's the cool thing about working in sports, though, is that you get to meet all those type of people. And, but it was really, really hard to get a job. My first full-time job, it took me 3 or 4 months to get a full-time job.
Took me
It was
4
hard.
months.
I don't know how hard it is now. I don't know if it's easier because people aren't doing it because it's, people know how hard it is. I had no clue. You probably didn't know either.
Hey, I got out of grad school at Tennessee, went back to grad school because back then it was a differentiator for when you were applying for jobs.
Mhm.
That, and obviously the networking and the people that you knew through your experiences. But man, I remember I was out of work probably, it was at least 4 months after I graduated. And that was a time period where I remember applying to like Bradley and
Oh, gosh.
places all over the country that I may not even known what city they were
Yeah.
in or had never been to those parts of the country. It was basically like, you will take whatever job you can get coming out of college. And then from there, build up experience to hopefully get to the conference or the league that you want to be in.
Yeah. I took one of those jobs. It was 500 miles away from home. I didn't know anybody at this place that I went to. Was making no money. We've talked about this a million times, but it's just, I think it's different now. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's still hard to get a job, but it used to be really, really hard. You remember how many resumes we would get for interns? Do you remember? I mean, it would be 200.
There were jobs early on where there'd be 400, 500 resumes.
Yeah. I can't imagine when you guys hired me at, when we worked together, I bet there were a lot of resumes for that job. Not toot my own horn or anything. It's just, there were a lot of resumes for those jobs back in the day.
Yeah,
Maybe
there
it's
were.
still that way. Maybe
You
it's
were,
still that way.
you were the 20th choice, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
exactly.
I don't even know.
But
Dude,
it's it's crazy.
I remember, I'll tell you what I was enjoying. I was stressed that I didn't have a job for like 4 months. And I went down had some friends in New Orleans. And we spent a week down there. There's like 8 to 12 of us, complete shenanigans. And I applied to be a promotions coordinator at Vanderbilt, 200 miles down the road from Knoxville, from where I got my undergrad and grad. And I think it had gotten into like August. It was essentially like 3 to 4 weeks before football season started, and they needed a promotions coordinator to do in-game entertainment. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
And
Well, looking back on it, now that we know about it, not that crazy.
maybe that should have been a red flag.
You think?
Maybe that should have been a red flag. Now, the entire department restructured and they got rid of their athletic director, and we got folded into intramurals 3 weeks into my job.
Yeah.
Man, who could have thought of that? We were a front page headline on the old ESPN.go.com.
Yeah.
But I was in a Taco Bell, and they sold beer figures in New Orleans at the Taco Bell. It's probably like those Taco Bell cantinas now.
Yeah.
And this was 2003 or so, and it was 10 in the morning, and I'm drinking a beer in Taco Bell in New Orleans, right off of Bourbon Street. And I get the call like, hey, we want to bring you in.
When can you be here?
And so I cut that trip short.
Yeah.
booked it back to Nashville, got the interview, got the job, and 3 weeks later, football season was starting, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing. No clue. Zero clue. But you learned, sometimes you get thrown in the fire and you learn, and didn't have a lot of staff and resources, and department restructured, and it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And half the department was thinking, well, actually did leave. Most of senior leadership left within 3, 4, 5 months, including my boss, and just was on an island like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen here. I mean, I remember even interviewing a couple places because I was thinking like, do I need to get the hell out of here? And, I'm thankful that I stayed and things turned around, and I learned a lot from all of those experiences. And actually it helped me climb up the ladder pretty quickly because I was able to stand out through all of the people leaving and complaining and all those things. I had a positive mindset. I was probably reading the old, for people out there, like a Norman Vincent Peale book about the power of positive thinking. And I need to go back to that because I'm more of a, when you get beat down in life, sometimes the positive thoughts escape you when you most need them. But back then I was high on that stuff. And so it worked. It worked out. But I wanted to ask you back, I know our listeners are probably thinking like, Barca, why in the hell did you not ask a follow-up question to this? What are you doing? You're not a real journalist. You're a slacker. You're you're sloppy with this show.
Yeah.
But you said you may have gone a different career path. Are you talking about in sports or something else?
I think in sports would have been good just to get out of the rat race of maybe working in a college athletic department.
Like what?
I don't know what that would have looked like. I don't know how I would have maybe transitioned to maybe something in TV, or maybe gone over to the Learfield side and maybe learned how to sell, or I don't know, just maybe done something a little bit just to get out of the daily being gone all the time and that type of stuff, But I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot it. But then I don't get to meet people like a guy like Luke Cornett, who last night, I don't want to, I'm going to try to keep the podcast evergreen, but he just had an incredible game-ending block to win the game, and he goes nuts. Like, his enthusiasm, those guys have got to love him, and they should. He's awesome. But then you don't get to meet people like Luke. You don't get to meet people like that played for you or your coaches, and I don't know. It's just it's a crazy little trade-off there about what you want to prioritize in your life. It's tough.
Man, just those experiences when you see it. I saw that play.
It's so great.
Top of ESPN this morning, and the team is just engulfed him and going nuts on the court. And it was an awesome block on what looked to be
they were going to tie the game.
Yeah, game-tying layup.
Yep.
And yeah, it just makes you flash back and think like, because it feels like a different lifetime.
It does.
It makes you feel like, oh yeah. It brings back a feeling a little bit. And you're like, man, I remember those days. I'm so happy for Luke. Yep. And maybe you think of a memory or two that happened. And like, even sometimes like we'll be watching TV and say this certain coach is on or this player's on. And nobody in the room will really have any clue because I don't talk a lot about it.
Yep.
But I'll just be like, oh yeah, I worked with that coach. Or, oh, I know that player. He was there and this and that. And it's
awesome.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah. And it's not cool for like being able to say it, but it's such a weird vortex that we're in right now where I'm just sitting watching a game. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Sonny Gray just signed with the Red Sox.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It's just so fun and what kind of dude he is, right? He's the best, and you're just happy that everybody can see that, can see what you know and what you saw, just how great this dude is. And man, I was chasing down all kinds of stuff today about his press conference. What did he say after the game? And someone asked him what his pregame routine was, and in typical Luke fashion, he's like, I don't sleep very late anymore. I found a place to go to mass, and he gave a shout out to the church that he went to. And it's just so genuine, man. And I'm so happy that he's made it in the NBA, and the league's a better place with him there, and the Spurs are going to be better that he's there, and I'm just so happy for him, man. That was just a great moment. That's got to be one of the top 10 moments in the NBA this year.
Yeah, it was cool.
It has to be.
It was cool, and he was just a guy that always got it.
He did.
And just great locker room person, pleasurable person to be around, you know, especially around people like us that are always making requests, and always had a unique sense of humor and joy to life. And I bet, like, when you watch those press conferences too, it's cool to kind of just see how these players have grown up over time.
Yeah.
And how they've matured. I think of some of the old players that I built relationships with, and like seeing their kids now are playing basketball on IG stories and stuff like that. I was like, man, that's just like, I'm getting chills thinking about it.
Yeah,
like,
it's just
that's
cool.
I'm so happy just to kind of see just the personal life, like progression of
really
people
cool.
that we saw at a very, like, a really important age, you know, you think about that 18 to 22 age and how they're finding who they are in life, and just seeing what they've turned out to do, whether they're still playing sports or not.
Yeah. I think the cool thing too is that, and we were always this way with our kids, and you were this way when you were around these athletes. You were really genuine with them. Like, you really wanted what was best for them. There was no other playbook. It was just, how can we be better for you? You know, how can we make you more comfortable? How do we make you, I'm not in this for anything else. And I just think you develop these genuine relationships, and I think it carries over to the pros when you can go and you know what a genuine relationship is. You know how to be real. You're not faking it, you know? Like Luke, there's nothing about Luke that's fake. You know, he's a math nerd. You know, when he signed with the Spurs, he said, I just want to be a third of the player that Tim Duncan was. That's why he's wearing the number 7. And he starts talking about math multiples, and I love multiples. And I mean, like, that's just who he is. But he's genuine and he's real. And I think at that level, that's what they want. That's what these guys in a locker room, they don't want to deal with nobody who's not real. I mean, that's the worst you could be. So I'm happy for him, man. It's so fun. It's so fun to watch that guy.
He gets it.
He does.
Won a title with the Celtics.
Yeah.
Now he's an
Playing
important
with
role
Wemby.
player on the Spurs, and just somebody that really understands his role and how to fit in to bring value to the organization, and not putting himself first.
Yep.
You know, and everything. Like, when you're on an actual team, that's important.
When
you're trying to get 15 guys to, this is such coach speak right now,
but
to gel
again,
together
but
and play as one.
It's a long season, dude. They play 82 games.
Yeah.
That one moment last night is going to carry them through at least 2 or 3 more. They have the road trip. That could carry them through the rest of the road trip. They could be busting his chops on the plane. They could be, I don't know. It's just a moment that can get you just through the season a little bit more. And when you have guys like that in the locker room, it's just makes it so much better and easier to navigate. These seasons are so long. So any little advantage you can get, any little emotional advantage, pick-me-up you can get, you're going to take. And Luke's going to give you those. He is.
Brilliant move by the Spurs, and
best,
just
man.
a great org. They know what they're doing. And when I saw that signing to begin with, I was like, oh, yeah, this is the perfect spot.
Perfect.
And people in Boston loved him as well. And so happy for him. And it brings back from some of the stuff you're saying, and try not to get too sentimental here and too sappy. But it really does, and we've mentioned this time and time again, one of the differentiators about working in sports in this business is the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the relationships, working with these kids, and hopefully you play a small role in their development, and everyone working together as a team, and us all getting in the trenches in the marketing and comms office, and traveling and doing all of these things, and then seeing these things later in life. There's not a ton of professions that are relationship based. You know, I can think of people I knew in other professions where you'd walk into their office and you could hear a pin drop. Nobody would be speaking to each other. You wouldn't walk up to their desk unless you had an appointment.
Yep.
You wouldn't walk into their office
Yeah.
if the door was closed. And it's just completely different in sports. And that was perfect. That was everything I wanted in the type of job or atmosphere, was to have that ability to, hey, let's put up a Nerf hoop. And I used to always do this. I know it used to annoy some people. And let's have a free throw competition for 10 out of 10 just because it's 2:00 and we're going to be here till midnight.
Yeah.
Just to break up the day. Or like you said, like we did in the past, go work out downstairs in the Olympic weight room, or any of those things, man. Like I loved being a part of that and building those relationships. And that's advice too, I think, to anybody out there. If that's something that you thrive off of, or you really want something out of your work, and when you get to the end of the day, like that's important to you, that's good. Or if you want a 9 to 5 where you check in and check out and get your paycheck and you don't care about anybody that works there, then you should do something like that. But for me, it was what I wanted to experience.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no perfect experience but there is an experience especially for you, and for us that's just what it was, and we were lucky to be involved with that, you know. I mean, I worked at smaller D1 schools. We never had any pros. I never worked with any pros till I started working in the last job, and you know, it doesn't matter though. Like, there's still people, you're still happy for them when they have kids, they're still happy for them when they, you know, do well in their careers outside of sports. And so that part is really cool, but it's not for everybody. Like Erin said, not for everybody. And you better really love it to really enjoy it.
Think about all the people you worked with. Like, you worked with Erin Andrews when she came to town for a big basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
You worked with Jay Billis if they were coming here for game day. And hell, when you got the call like 2 or 3 days before, finding out like, hey, for this ESPN game, Dickie V is going to be in town.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that like?
I was on Dickie V's Instagram. I was. I don't know. Like, that guy, he's just one of a kind. He was so good. He was a little bit difficult sometimes because he would come in and want to talk to coach like right before a game. And if you haven't been around coaches before big games, and he always worked big games. He's not coming to work some low-level conference game. Like, he's there for, you know, when you're playing a ranked opponent. So, but, you know, my coach was always super welcoming to him, and man, he would pass out. Remember, he would pass out the flyers about the children's cancer stuff. He would always be trying to raise money for them, and he's always taking pictures to put on his Instagram page. And I don't know, man. He's a special dude. I'm so happy. He's going to call NCAA tournament game for the first time. I'm so happy for him. So yeah, I mean, those are other experiences that you get to have, and they're great. He's a great dude.
He's a 101.
He is.
I mean, 100%. I remember him just coming in, and he just totally got the entertainment side of things as well. Even off camera, if he wasn't sitting at the desk calling the game, like, he'd walk in and he would crowd surf in the student section.
Yeah,
and
so great.
Man, he's between him and Bill Walton, and I think you said you still have an old voicemail from Bill Walton.
I do have an old voicemail from. I'll never get rid of it.
Man, if either of those guys were coming to an event, man, it was special. It was special. What did he tell you in your voicemail?
I can't remember. He wanted. I think he may have known when we wanted to know when we were practicing, but I had something in my notes, or he did some research about Vanderbilt being a national arboretum. And that dude went crazy with that fact. I don't know. I had heard he talked about it the whole time. He did one of our Maui trips. So he just talked about an like the Vanderbilt was an arboretum. I don't know I mean, that guy.
He cared though.
He cared. That guy did more research than a lot of other people. I mean, he would call you on the phone and talk for like 30, 40 minutes just to run down, hey, who are your players? What do I need to know about your school? That type of stuff. And he ran with all of it. And that poor dude, his body was so broken down. Like, he had to bring his own chair in. Like, he had this big, tall chair. He would wear these compression socks, like, up to his knees. Like, he always had compression socks on. And that poor guy's body was just done. But he loved every minute of calling games. It was great. He 101, man. One of the saddest days, I guess that happened last year, but a really, really sad day when he left us. Man, love that guy.
Genuine. How he was on camera was not a show.
Yeah.
And there was a great doc, I think on ESPN, where he was really discussing a lot of that stuff with his injuries and his life and everything he learned, I think in that last year or two before he passed. But he would, when I worked at Oregon for 2 years, Pac-12,
Conference of Champions.
The Conference of Champions.
Yeah.
And he would sit there and chat with people in the stands. And like, it was not an act, He could have easily been like one of those old school TV personalities that was the biggest asshole.
Could be.
When the camera was off, like, where's my coffee? And I don't have my notes. And
he wasn't, though.
Why is this person not here for this interview? And I remember he used to shoot this segment that would go on these Pac-12 games. It was kind of like a Walton's World type thing where he would do something crazy in town. And at Oregon, it was extremely popular before I got there. It was the Quack Cave. It was like this innovative digital hub where students would come in and do tweets, and there were big screens everywhere, and it was like the original, like, innovative place for, students there to run this cave of social media. It was groundbreaking at the time, got a ton of national press. And so Walton wanted to come in and do a quick little 90-second segment on the Quack Cave. So he came in. And again, you would think a guy like this, it's a game day. He's going to be doing the matchup that night on national TV, has a lot of stuff to do to prepare. He would be in and out and be like, all right, we cut this in 10 minutes. I'm gone. I'm going to go do something else. He walked around and greeted everybody in the office. There's probably like 15 to 20 of us between marketing and comms. He does the segment in the Quack Cave. He pulls up one of the social media hubs with a keyboard and a large screen TV. And you know him. He loved the Oregon Duck. I love the Oregon Duck too. Best mascot in the game.
He's great, yeah.
And he would just start pounding on the keyboards, and he would just look around in this room, go, quack, 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 quack. I mean, he was like a 8-year-old kid, and he had this joy and love. And then he stuck around for like, gosh, it must have been at least 30, 45 minutes after, just shooting the shit with everybody there and talking hoops and whatever. And just, I was like, man, I need to find that joy in life now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that there are other factors playing into that, being in Eugene, Oregon.
Maybe.
But I was like, man, that guy gets it. And I'm always strung out and stressed out and look like my eyeballs would pop out. They're cracking and red. And I'm looking at him come in, just slamming on a keyboard, saying quack, quack, quack to everybody. Yeah. And just enjoying life. And so
he kind of had it figured out, man. He did. He did what he wanted to do. He loved the people he loved, and
he'd been through a lot too.
He'd been through a lot, and yeah, super, super happy to have got to know him a little bit.
And I could just do a pod just asking you about all of these different media
personalities
personalities over the years.
Nah.
If people even got to like 30, 40 minutes into this pod, I hope they did, because you got some good stories here.
Yeah.
But these are a lot of times things we don't instantly remember unless we bring it up. Like, oh, hey, Dick Vitale came and did one of your games, and you're like, oh, that's right. Yeah. I can tell you 10 minutes about that.
Yeah. He's great, man. I'm so, again, just to see him doing games is awesome. And, I know a lot of people don't like his shtick and his Dookie V stuff. I mean, I get that. But at the end of the day, he's a really good man, and he cares about, he's raised, I don't know how much money for pediatric cancer. I mean, I saw it's over $100 million he's raised. And he's so passionate about that. And I'm so happy for him that that's kind of come to fruition for him, just that passion and the money that he's raised. It's pretty cool, man.
And he's always been passionate about promoting the sport.
He has. We're missing that right now, are we not?
I think
I think we are.
He played a very big role in the
did.
growth of college basketball.
He really did.
Whether you loved his shtick or not, personally, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
If he was on, I loved it because it felt like a big time game.
Mm-hmm.
And he was put all of this energy into making the moment feel so much bigger. And not many people can do that.
Yeah, he is one of one. And you know, when the Big East was taking off, he was doing a game or two every week. And I mean, he was doing all those ACC games, Duke and Carolina. And remember when ESPN2 launched, and he was like one of the main. I think they put a Carolina Duke game on ESPN2, and he was there doing that game, pumping ESPN2. He's always been a great company man. So, yeah, dude is something else. It's awesome.
Sponsored by...
This episode is brought to you by Modern Computers. And yes, that's their actual name, Modern Computers. Like they're the first people to figure out that computers exist in 2025. Stunning. Apparently, and I'm just learning this now, Modern Computers has created revolutionary new software that lets you use photographs and graphics. And get this, the 3.0 version, 3.0 people, now supports video, moving pictures. What a time to be alive. Because God forbid people actually have to read your boring, garbled 12-point Times New Roman manifesto about how great your product really is. Remember all those freelancers you paid hundreds of dollars to? The ones whose work is currently rotting in a folder labeled Great Photos? Well, Modern Computers says you can actually, wild concept here, use them. Revolutionary! And those two overworked graphic designers you have chained to their desks, cranking out content like they're Arnold in his prime pumping iron at Gold's Gym? Modern Computers will let you honor their sacrifice by, wait for it, actually posting their work. What an innovation in human decency. Plus, with their cutting-edge software, you can take moving pictures, video, of real life and become the communicator you were born to be. Modern Computers, because apparently we needed someone to invent using pictures in 2025.
What are we getting to here, Boggs? Are we talking about SIDs and boring ass game notes?
Yes. Yeah. Let's stop making it so boring and actually make it where people pay attention to what you have to say and not just read the first two sentences like, I'm done with that.
But
That's
we
where I'm
need to
getting
give
at.
the people all the information, all of the details. Why would we want to put a narrative behind it?
I don't know. Narratives are just so overrated. Let's just do all these stale facts that people are not even going to read.
Page 34.
Yeah.
Strength of schedule when playing at 9 o'clock versus 4 o'clock.
Yeah, use some photos and some graphics and some videos and interviews that you've done to make your point go across a little bit better. Just my personal opinion.
Oh, Boggsy.
Yeah.
Well, do I have one for you today?
Yeah.
This one's going to be fun. We'd like to welcome another new sponsor to the show by parroting the old Eddie Murphy Velvet Jones sketch on SNL. If you're old like me, you might remember this one. Hello, are you a high-profile college football coach between the ages of 50 and I'm too old to be flirting with the algo on TikTok? Are you tired of pretending to be a rehabilitated housewife in an ESPN documentary while you lie around all day DMing half the college co-eds? Are you irritated by the fanboy bloggers with floppy bangs wearing pastel Vineyard Vines polos, calling you out because deep down they just want to drink a Mick Ultra with you on the square? Well, with my new book, you never need to fake it again, because in 6 short weeks, I can train you to be a high-paying hoe. That's right, people. It's a known fact that a good hoe can make up to $250K a week without even leaving the comforts of your own antebellum mansion, especially if you're dramatic enough to turn an entire SEC town into a full-blown soap opera dumpster fire. Does this rat poison sound too good to be true? Well, It can be all yours after a lot of prayer and time spent with family, and whatever advice 74-year-old Pete Carroll gave you that made things even worse. Just send for my new book entitled, I Want to Be a Hoe. And if in 6 short weeks you're not confident that you can roll over a fake PR dog account for sympathy, slide into the girlies' DMs and remind them to keep it top secret, charm every yoga studio in town until they start spilling tea for engagement once you break up, and then bolt on a private jet while fans try to run you off the road as you torch your entire legacy, then just send your offensive coordinator back to coach in the playoffs for a full refund. It's as simple as that. So embrace your hoedom and order the book today. Rush $19.95 to Be a Hoe, Box 800, Louisiana, zip code 99999. And don't you worry, Ole Miss fans. As a parting prize, you can just add another fake national title banner to go with your other championships in the 60s.
Oh, you know we couldn't get through an episode without getting after that guy a little bit.
Had to get on the train, my friend.
Jeez, man, what a train it is. What a disaster.
First and foremost, I should say, Lane Kiffin should be able to make whatever decision he wants to, right? What's best for him and his family. I think we say the same thing to people working in sports when they ask us through our experiences. It's not about loyalty to the brand, because the same school will fire your ass in an instant when things go bad. It happens to successful coaches all the time. It's about putting your personal priorities first and what's most important to you in life. I can say that after being fired from a job, and it really does change your perspective.
Like we've talked about, and what other people have talked about. When you hired this dude at Ole Miss, this is what you got. This is exactly what you signed up for. He's done this at every spot. Every time he's left the place, it's been hugely dramatic. Hugely dramatic. I mean, I remember when he left Tennessee and went to USC, we were on a trip. We were playing a game somewhere. We land the plane, and someone shows me their phone like, Lane Kiffin just left to take the USC job? We're like, yeah.
Did you see him on the tarmac?
That's the deal. It's just that's just what you get with him. You know, the guy can coach. I think he's straightened his life out as far as, alcohol and addiction and things like that, and now his addiction maybe is hot yoga, which is incredible. Good for him. But, at the end of the day, this is who he is, and this is what you signed up for. There's just so many shenanigans going around, though, with that. I mean, I think this thing had been done for a long time, for at least a couple of weeks. I mean, there's all kinds of reports that he had a place in Baton Rouge already, and, and then all these people on ESPN shilling for Jimmy Sexton and CAA, and, I mean, the whole thing is just a complete circus.
Gotta love it. That's why we love college football. You can't get this soap opera anywhere else. And I'm enjoying all of the plot twists and turns and all of the dysfunction and how flawed this system is in college football, with all of these power-hungry, incompetent people driving the ship, whether it's the coaches or the agents or ESPN and
politicians.
Yeah. What a soap opera.
Yeah.
I can't look away. What a story arc if we're going back to an episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, the governor of Louisiana will never do a contract like that again. And then the one they did with Lane was twice as bad. It's like, man, we crap on Jimmy Sexton and these agents a lot. At least maybe we do. Maybe we haven't, but I do in my day-to-day discussions with people. But he knows how to play on people's emotions, doesn't he? He's a master manipulator. He's playing like 3D chess, and we're all like playing tiddlywinks. The guy knows what he's doing. Every time I see an article, though, about a coach, like, might be the front runner, or he's about to sign, or that's all him, just plugging narratives throughout the whole thing. It really is funny, man. It is funny, but nothing's going to ever change with this. You know, you're gonna have people like Lane doing this all the time. Maybe they move the calendar, but like the coaches approved this calendar that we have now. They wanted an early signing period so people could sign or enroll early, and you want the
Cry me a river, coaches. Cry me a river.
Yeah, that's right, man. And you want the portal to be in between semesters so people can transfer and then start school in the next semester. I get that. But why don't you change when football starts? Start it August the 17th. Kids are in school. It's not like back in the day when we were in college where the freshmen showed up on July 29th and the upperclassmen showed up on August the 3rd. They're all there all summer. They are there all summer. So start it earlier. Just common sense stuff. It's just not going to happen. So you're going to keep having these type of situations. Lane was in a bad spot. I will give him that. He was in a bad spot, and I would have wanted to coach my team too, and so I don't blame him for any of this. LSU's a better job. At the end of the day, man, it probably could have been handled better, but I don't know how much better. How much better? What would you have done in that situation?
I think number one, I'm taking care of whatever's in my best interest.
Exactly, and he did that.
And you just have to deal. You have to deal with the fallout. But to your point, and I'll bring up a specific scenario. As a fan base, by hiring Lane, you know what you're getting when you sign him, and the track record's there. It reminds me of what's going on right now, also with Penn State and James Franklin, because a similar thing happened at Vandy when Franklin went on to greener pastures in Happy Valley. Penn State fans were thrilled to steal him away from Vandy. And Franklin took all of the relationships and recruits that he built at Vandy, and overnight, it was all gone. It was all at Penn State.
Man. Yep.
Vandy's recruiting class tanked, and the Commodores went from a historic 9-win season back to 3-win seasons in the basement. Now, Penn State fans are pissed because it's happening to them in real time. Franklin raided PSU's recruiting class, and it might end up being their worst ever. While Franklin now has assembled a top 25 class at Virginia Tech in 2 weeks with a lot of Penn State's recruits. So you get what you signed up for. Penn State, I don't know if we want to lump Ole Miss into this or not, but sometimes it's just full karma, and fans are excited. They're excited right now that Lane's down there at LSU. I don't blame them after the last couple of years, but just know that while it's fun on the way in, it may not be fun on the way out.
It's like those burritos we eat from wherever.
It's those beers at 9 a.m. at Taco Bell next to Bourbon Street.
It's also just flabbergasting to me, the incompetency of what's happening at Penn State. I mean, they were the first team to fire their coach, and they're the last team to hire their coach. How does that guy how's their AD keep his job? I don't understand. I mean, this has been botched from the very, very beginning. I'm not saying Franklin should have not been fired. Maybe he should have. I probably wouldn't have. But, man, they don't have a coach. Like, I don't know if they have a plan. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe by the time this podcast airs that they'll have a coach. But I don't know, man. Like, how does that even get to the point? Again, it goes back to, if you're the AD, okay, my coach tomorrow is in a car crash, can never coach again. He dies or he's incapacitated. Do I have 5 names in my drawer that I could open up and be like, who are the people that I want to coach my team? They don't have those lists. They obviously don't have those lists. And some of these ADs are just not equipped to be in these situations. They're just not. And this guy's like number one. I don't know this guy's background. I don't know Pat Kraft's background. I'm sure he's been AD other places. But this is when you need like a hardcore CEO that knows how to play games in the boardroom type of dude. You don't need, some podunk dude who worked at, no offense to Mac school, but maybe worked at a Mac school before he, joined Penn State. Like, you're not in these situations at Ball State.
Yeah, it's not always rosier on the other side. And, you can live off your school name and think that just anybody's going to show up and take the next head coaching gig. Franklin and Penn State were a couple plays from being in the national title game last year.
They were.
And then 3 bad weeks, followed by some injuries, I think, after maybe a second or third loss to their quarterback. And you get these maniacal fan bases.
Yeah.
And granted, they were upset, I think, over the years on them rarely winning the big game or the big matchup.
Right.
So it built over time. But still, like, those 3 games should not have dictated a decision at that moment. They should have let it play out for the rest of the year and see where the cards lay. We saw LSU just do it with Brian Kelly. Obviously, Brian Kelly, I think we would all agree, wasn't the perfect fit for Baton Rouge from the start. But I think his career record was 20 games over 500, which probably not acceptable to a fan base that, with the recruiting that they have there within their own state and they expect to win national titles. Sure. But man, they sure did jump to get him too.
Yeah.
And look at that. I think it was 3 years later. I can't remember if it's 3 or 4. And now they've got Lane Kiffin. And all right, let's go through this again and see how it works. And he may end up with 5 national championships.
What happens when the Saints come calling in 2 years? Let's say he goes 11-2 and plays for national championships, and the Saints hey, I want to hire that dude in 2 years. Do you not think the same thing's going to happen to them? He's going to play them like a fiddle, and Jimmy Sexton will play them like a fiddle.
I love the drama. I love the dysfunction.
Yep.
And the thing that I've enjoyed seeing, you probably don't see this, you're not on TikTok.
No.
But all of these yoga studios in Oxford.
That's funny.
And its members are shaming Kiffin now that he's gone, saying he's awkward and this and that. He turned up the heat in the studios. And these people are doing these posts now that he's gone just to get social media engagement. It's like this one-off post to say, oh yeah, I was around this guy in this instant and this is what he did. And if you're doing that on social media right now, I just want to say the old quote, you are weak like H.R. Pickens. But here we are again in the social media age, wanting attention for the 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this shit is ending up in my algorithm.
I don't know how.
So you know what? I'm consuming the hell out of it.
All of it, yeah.
As the world turns. Time to wrap it up.
And that's another edition of No Longer Credentialed. Thanks to all of you listening, and if you like it, tell a friend and give it a 5-star rating on your podcast app of choice. Don't forget to check us out on social media at NLC Pod on X, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. Until next week, keep grinding.